I think I'm live. It says I'm live, but also it says I'm starting, so I'll give it a second. So, um, got a question talking about Novations. I did a video on Novations, and then someone would say, I'd love to see a follow up video going in depth on how Novations work in New York. He's in North Carolina. He's talking about a normal person, attorney, in fact. So, talk a little bit more about Novations. I got my second Novation deal. About to sign the secondary contract. So let's talk about what novations are. I spoke about it before, but I'll go deeper into how it works in New York. It's a little different in New York than other places because it's very hard to get an attorney in fact or a power of attorney to sign the second contract. So the way novations work is that you are able to get into contract on a property for usually more. I mean, you can go less, but usually more than you wanted to pay if you were going to assign the contract to a cash buyer. So let's do some basic math here. All right. So guy brings you a house, and the house ARV is 500,000. Oh, first of all, novations only work if the property is in decent shape and will be delivered vacant. No major problems, no municipal issues, nothing preventing someone from getting a mortgage. So let's take it. So guy has house 500,000. You do simple math on what you want to do to assign it. You do, let's say, 80% of 500,000 is 400,000. And let's say it needs some to get it to $500,000 value. Maybe it needs $20,000 work. It needs some paint. It needs some minor touch-ups. So you're saying, okay, maybe I can possibly sell it to a cash buyer at 480. So maybe if I buy it for 450, this guy comes up and he says he wants I'm sorry, let's go back. 380, right? The ARV is 500. It needs a little bit of work. It's not in bad shape. You say I could buy it for 350. This guy says I want a 400 for it. And you're thinking at 400, I could buy it, maybe wholesale it, but it would cost $40,000 or $50,000 to close on the buy, eventually closing costs on the sale, and hold it. The truth at 400 would be a buy anyway. Let's say he wants 4.25. 4.25 is almost not going to make sense. It's too tight, right? It's going to cost you 50,000, maybe you make 25. You can't sell if you can't sell it for 500, and in the current condition, maybe it's only worth 480, 475. Doesn't make sense at 425. If you can, if the seller will allow you to do a novatable contract at 425, you can make it work. What happens there? You go to contract at 425. There's a rider in the contract that says I can novate the property. I can assign the contract. I can novate the contract. A novation means replacement. What that means is that, hey, I'm the buyer. I'm B. You're the seller A to B. I'm going to get a new guy C to replace me as a new buyer. Now, it took me a very long time to wrap my head around this, but the immediate questions that come is, why wouldn't the guy just list it himself? So the guy wants the certainty and convenience that we provide. Also, you need time for innovation. If somebody needs to close really quickly, it's not going to work. You need at least 3 months. That's how long it takes in New York for the end buyer to get a contract. You really could use 4. So you're guaranteeing that price, right? The guy just wanted to know he was getting 425 in our example. You're saying, I'm going to buy it at 425. I'm going to try to go out in the market and see somebody else who might want it for more. Maybe I can do some work on it. Anything that's necessary in the second, so we go to contract. Then let's say you find a buyer who wants to pay $475 for it. So it's a $50,000 spread. It's a good deal. You're going to have one cost, which I'll talk about in a second, besides legal. And then you have a new contract. So now you have to sign a novation agreement. You already signed a contract with the seller that says they must novate the contract if you want them to. Now you have to sign a novation agreement with the seller that says, hey, I'm not going to be your buyer anymore. You're going to have a new buyer. Anything above our price is mine, but any expenses or costs that come into play are also mine. So, for example, if the new buyer says, hey, I need you to add stairs, right? I need you to add some stairs, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get a mortgage with it, or I think it's a safety issue, and I'm not buying the property unless you add stairs. Let's say it's $2,000. That falls on you in the middle to do. Let's say the buyer drops out at the last second. Then you have to close, right? You have to close, right? Now, I'm okay. At 425, it's not a great deal, but I'm willing to close there if I think I can sell it as is, 475. Maybe I'll lose a little. Maybe I'll break even. But ideally, the second buyer is going to close at 475, and I'm going to make $50,000 minus, right? I'm going to have I may have a buyer's agent, let's say 2% cost. So in this case, that's around $9,000, a little over $9,000, $9,500. So, but it's a $50,000 spread. So and a legal fee, I'll still make around $40,000. It's a great deal, right? It's taking really a deal that I have probably turned down hundreds of deals like this over the years because it was too tight. And what it works for is a seller that just has a number in mind that's less than the property can be sold for as is, but he doesn't want to deal with the uncertainty of a buyer who is going to have a mortgage contingency. Now, I was in the mortgage business for 17 years. I can tell you on dozens, if not 100 occasions, a buyer's called me and said, listen, I don't want to buy this house. Can you just give me a denial? It's very easy. A standard mortgage contingency is a get out of contract free card. That guy can jerk you around for 4 months and not close. Also, the guy may not want to be jerked around and have to start again. The guy may not know where the market's going and be concerned, hey, the market's going to drop, and I'm concerned that I'm going to lose money because the market could be less in 4 months from now when a new buyer comes in. And by the way, things like that have happened to me recently. And